Have you ever had a flash of inspiration for a YouTube script, sat down to actually write it, and suddenly it's like you've never even used a pen? I mean, it's not going to be a pen, is it? Who uses pens these days? But you get the idea. Suddenly you can't figure out how to express yourself or why your viewer should even care. And before you know it, you're so full of self-doubt, you convince yourself that this is why you should never have tried to be a YouTuber in the first place. I guess it's back to riffing, which is completely easy and not stressful at all. Who needs a script? Me, I need a script. I can't do this without one. Okay, so this totally used to be me, but after years writing for multi-million subscriber YouTubers, I spent months breaking down and systemizing the entire script writing process to make writing scripts easier. And here's the thing, actually writing the script is the fourth of those 5 steps. So in this video, we're gonna cover what 3 things you need to do before you sit down to write, that not only is gonna make the process of writing easier, but they're actually gonna result in better videos that are more engaging to your audience. Now, to understand the first thing, I want to take you back to a huge change I made to this channel that led to me completely abandoning this video that I was originally going to put on the channel and which ended with me paragliding off a freaking mountain. So I wanted to start this channel for a long time, and I thought I had a pretty good idea of the type of audience I wanted to attract. I had these grand ideas that while most educational YouTubers are sat at a desk talking to a camera, I was going to be different. Because what if, instead of doing talking head videos every few weeks, I did one big swing video per quarter, shooting on location and just doing something a bit mad. This felt exciting to me, and I literally spent an entire skiing holiday going out and shooting a script that I thought was going to be perfect for my dream audience. But when I mentioned this video to someone at a conference who was actually one of my newsletter readers, his response kind of surprised me. He said something like, "Ah, yeah, cool, skiing video. Paragliding off a I kind of liked it when you just did a 20-minute unedited ramble to camera about a video that you worked on and your thought process while making it." And the thing was, he wasn't the only one who felt this way, because I mentioned this big swing skiing video to a bunch of people, and while they said it sounded cool, I guess, they all said they actually just wanted to hear me at a desk talking about script writing. I guess there's a reason why that's what other YouTubers actually do. But this small insight that I'd gotten from actually speaking to people who read my newsletter made me realize how much guesswork I was actually doing with my script. And since getting their opinions, it's caused me to stop and think, who am I actually targeting here? And is the thing that would convince someone to buy one of my products, for example, some cheap spectacle, although it was a lot of fun, or just lean, effective, battle-tested information like this? And since creating my full audience avatar, and by the way, my anti-avatar, the people I don't want to watch, it's just made writing every single script so much easier. I literally write all of them in around 90 minutes. So before you sit down to write, you need to have a clear idea of who you're writing for and who you're not. It's gonna massively reduce your overthinking and make sure you're attracting an audience who are more primed to buy from you. And by the way, I have a free email blast that I can send you that walks you through how to create your audience avatar really easily, so no stress. Now, on to the second thing you need to do before you sit down to write, and this is one that most YouTubers think is incredibly simple, yet the clients I work with consistently get it wrong, and if you do the same, your audience simply aren't gonna watch your videos to the end. Now, to show you this in action, a couple of weeks ago, I started brainstorming a script about how I grew my script writing business to 6 figures per year, because I thought it would just be interesting. But I quickly realized there was a problem, because despite having done all the work in step 1, identifying my ideal viewer, I realized that this way of framing the video skewed too much towards entrepreneurship. Now, yes, some people in my audience will care about that, but there wasn't enough of a focus on script writing to appeal to my core viewers. Rather than plowing ahead because I liked the idea, I had to think about a new way to frame it that my viewers would like as well. And in the end, I landed on an approach where while the freelancer to 6-figure business owner thing was the underlying story engine, the video was framed around how at each stage of my journey as a business owner, my approach to script writing had changed. The idea was exactly the same, but the framing had completely changed. And that's the key word here, framing. Which brings me to my 4-point framing checklist that every video I make has to satisfy. Number 1, is it interesting to me? In this case, yes, the idea had been interesting to me. Number 2, will my audience deeply care about it? Well, no, as I said, they wouldn't have cared about it until I reframed it. Number 3, does it evoke emotion? And yes, I think the original idea would have done, because basically anything with a $ in it tends to get some sort of reaction. And number 4, does it open multiple curiosity gaps, or can it just be answered with a Google search? Now, the idea before the reframe, maybe it opened multiple curiosity gaps, but afterwards, it definitely did, with the dual angle of A, how did he grow the business? And B, how does he relate that growth to how his script writing principles changed along the way? If you sit down and start trying to write a script that is just an idea and it hasn't been framed yet, that idea could be taken in so many different ways that of course you're going to start overthinking and you're going to be indecisive. But once you've framed that idea in a highly specific way, it's actually going to cut off a ton of options for you when you start to write, which is a good thing. Now, this brings us to the third and final step before we finally sit down to write. And this one is going to replace a habit that you probably think is helping you, but I'm going to show you why it isn't. And by the way, like I said, this is step 3. Step 4 is actually writing, and step 5 is, well, something a little extra. And I go into detail about this entire script writing process inside the YouTube script writing playbook. So if you want to join over 500 students who already learned it, there's a link in the description below. So step 3, what is it? Well, back when I was writing YouTube scripts for Ali Abdaal, I would open up a new Notion page and figure out the kind of different subtopics that my script was going to have. And this is a pretty common thing that I see with clients and students that I've worked with. You'll probably use these subheadings to break everything up and figure out the rough overview of your script. Now, while breaking up your script into these topics is perfectly okay, it doesn't create as robust a structure as you might think. Now, the risk here is that within those subsections, you could still end up rambling. There's no clear path that takes you from the start of each topic to the end. And overall, this is why on every script, I don't break my script up into subtopics, but instead I write the specific payoff of each segment before I try to write anything else. Not a vague subheading that describes what the segment is about, the actual useful takeaway my viewers will get at the end of each segment. I did it on this script and I do it every single time. Believe me when I say it is 100 times easier to write your script with a clear head when you have the skeleton laid out in front of you. And having these key payoffs baked in from the start is going to make the video all the more satisfying for your viewer. But with all the effort you've now put into the pre-prep for your script, the last thing you want is for the editing to let you down at the last hurdle. So watch this video next to learn about the most common editing mistakes that make your well-written script harder to understand, which threatens to wreck your retention.